Happy Friday, Millbrook. I've been thinking a lot this week about joy and about where I see joy and how I experience joy. I came across this quote from Columba of Iona, and it says, "Joy is the echo of God's life in us." Oh, how beautiful. Joy is the echo of God's life within us. That's beautiful. I've been thinking about joy and how I experience joy, and it reminded me of this silly story with my mom. When you're trying to become a pastor, you have to do many things, many interviews, write a lot of papers, but one of the things they ask everyone to do is to complete a psych evaluation, which sounds a little daunting, and it does take all day where you're answering multiple choice questions and meeting with the psychiatrist. But one of the questions that stood out to me the most when I came home after the long day of the test and my mom was saying, "Well, what kind of questions do they even ask you?" I said, one of them was, "I'm most happy when," and then you fill in the blank. It sounded easy enough, right? So my mom said, "Well, what did you put in the blank?" I said, "I'm most happy when eating donuts with friends." And my mom looked at me. She's like, "Are you serious? That's what you put?" I said, "Yeah, what's wrong with that?" My mom said, "Grayson, you're trying to be a pastor. Shouldn't you have put you're most happy when reading scripture or at church or on a mission trip or something like that? That's the answer they're looking for." I said, "Yeah, but I am happy and joyful when I do those things, but it asks when I'm the most happy. And often I'm most happy with donuts and friends." Why I wrote that down, I don't know. That's what popped into my head. They said, write down the first thing that came to your mind. But as I thought about it, and as I think about this quote, joy being the echo of God's life in us, perhaps even in moments where we aren't setting aside time to be with God, either through devotions, prayer, scriptures, what would it look like if we sought relationship with God through things we enjoy, through the joys of life, through the pleasures of life? Jacob and I last month went to a conference called Fresh Expressions, where we learned about different forms of ministry and different ways to do church together. I was shocked at some of the creative ideas that I heard. For example, there's a church that meets at a ski lodge, and then as soon as the service is over, they go out and hit the slopes. I learned about rugby church and mountain bike church, and they said, in doing these things together, we are worshiping God. And that's amazing. And I thought more about it, and what a joy that we have a God that doesn't only spend time with us when we're praying, when we are seeking God out, but God is with us throughout all of life. The little joys like eating donuts with friends, the big joys of new birth, new life, of celebrations. God is with us in all these moments, reaching out to us, filling us with joy. So what would it look like for you to intentionally seek God in moments of joy, in your hobbies, to invite God to participate in those things with you? I see this at Millbrook happening in the Tai Chi class that meets. I see this at Millbrook through the Loving Hands group that makes beautifully knitted and crocheted goods and blankets and things to share with people in our church and community. They're doing something they love and partnering with God to give back. How beautiful. The possibilities are endless. What do you enjoy? And how can you invite God along with that? John Wesley would say, you can experience God's grace through anything. These means of grace, these rituals, these practices, these hobbies can in fact bring us closer to God. And what would that look like if we invited God to bring us joy, to fill us with hope, and to see those signs of joy in our hearts as an echo of God's life in us?